Trae Young. First year Trae Young made the playoffs, right? Most people didn't really know who Trae Young was for real. You might have heard of him a little bit, but the casual fan who just tuned in from time to time, your favorite player is LeBron. You don't watch every game LeBron in. You watch a Christmas game and you wait for playoffs. One of them fans, right? But you watch a playoff game where LeBron's playing a Trae Young. It's a terrible example because it's cross conference, but you get the point. So it's like, oh, that other guy's pretty good. What's his name, Brian? Oh, it's such and such. You know, he's this, that, and third. I like him. So now you're really introduced to who this guy is and he can play or not. So you might have never seen this guy before, never heard of him, whatever, but that's where your name really gets made. That's where the real sponsorship and stuff come in because, oh, he's built for this. Like, okay, he gets up for this. And that's where the real, like the Sam Cassells, the clutch players who, I'm not the number one guy, but the last few minutes, the last shot you need, I'm right here. That's where the real clutch comes in because regular season clutch and postseason clutch, two different things. Because like I said, the intensity goes up. And so I think that the playoffs are the real, divider between the greats and the goods. Okay.
It is, definitely. And the okay.
Down. Down.
Yo, what it do, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast featuring my co-host, Defensive Player of the Year himself, Nelson Haskin. What's good, bro?
What's going on, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. Just trying to survive. And as my shirt says, increase my worth, increase my value so the price can go up, man.
Right. That's your boy gear, your brother gear.
I gotta rep the fam, man. Like, not just because he fam, because I actually support what he's doing. Like, I actually like it. I enjoy it. Like, I'm not just a fan because he's fam. I'm a fan because I'm a fan, so had to rep him one good time, one time for the one time. Feel me? So
I got my person going on shirt in here somewhere. It might be dirty, but I got it in here somewhere.
Hey, that's a good thing. I mean, you wearing it. So
oh yeah.
But yeah, man. For today's episode, it's around playoff time, and we just want to kind of get into and explain why the regular season and the playoffs are so different. Because a lot of times we'll see a team that, oh man, they're number one seed or number two seed in the East or West. They got the best record. They have this and that, whatever. And for whatever reason, they just get smacked by the time playoffs come, and it's just like, man, what happened? They're supposed to be this team and supposed to be that team, but reality is they weren't built for the postseason. So I just want to get some clarification for people who might not fully understand the difference between the regular season and the playoffs, because there's really two different seasons, to be completely real. You can't compare what happened in the regular season to the playoffs. You can't carry half that stuff over. So I just want you to kind of introduce your theory around why the regular season is so different from the playoffs.
Well, first and foremost, I feel like in the playoffs, number one thing is going to slow the game down, or the game is going to be slowed down, especially in the NBA. Because as you know, like in the NBA, like games, high scoring, a lot of fast paced teams out there and stuff like that. And it's just we getting up and down. A lot of points being scored, a lot of guys in the 30s, 40s, 50s any given night. But in the playoffs, it's very rare to have those big point explosions. You know what I'm saying? That's why we hype up guys like 40 points in the playoffs, 35 in a playoff game, 50 in a playoff game, things like that. That's huge. Because the game is being slowed down and you're being keyed in on a lot more. So, like I said, not only are we slowing the game down, but in the playoffs, you're playing the same team for at least 4 games, at least. So you're talking about a 7-game series against one team over and over and over. You're playing them every other day or every 2 days. So it makes it harder for you to do what you do a lot of times, because in basketball, we say in basketball, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. At least we say this in college. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. You beat a team the first time, all right, we beat them, got the best on them. Beat them the second time, especially on the road and at home, that means you're probably better than them. because you beat them twice and you beat them at home and in their own gym. Now, that third time you play them, you beat a team 3 times, you're the better team. Like, in college basketball, like, that means, like, if you could beat them 3 times, that chances are they could not beat you, even if it's 3 close games. But it's hard to do that because by the third time you play somebody, you pretty much have seen everything they got off. Like, you seen all they plays, every defensive set. You seen all their players. You know who they giving the ball to the most and what they can do. So in college, we always say it's hard to beat a team 3 times. In the NBA, in the playoffs, you got to beat a team 4 times. That's even harder. So it's like, man, we coming out every other night. I already know this guy knows my go-to moves. They didn't watch film. They got a scouting report. They know what we're trying to do. Like, we really out here just, we running our offense and our sets, but they know what's going on. Like it's very few back cut, wide open layups in the play. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys know what's happening. So now in the playoffs, it's like you really got to lock in and perform. You got to really get a bucket a lot of times because 9 times out of 10, you're not just going to be open off the plays. So that means it's going to come down to who gonna sit down and guard, who gonna play the best defense, who gonna get the most boards, who gonna play harder, who gonna make their free throws. It buckles down to a lot of smaller things at that point. And so that's the main difference in the game. I mean, in the playoffs, in the regular season. In the regular season, I'm gonna see you. We're gonna play, then I ain't gonna see you for some weeks. And we're gonna come back around, play again. I ain't gonna see you for some weeks. Then, like, depending on what team you play at, if we in the same division, we're gonna play each other 5-6 times. But at the same time, it's still weeks in between. Like, we're not playing each other every other day. In the playoffs, I'm seeing you every other day. If you my matchup, you're gonna be my matchup on Wednesday. You're gonna be my matchup on Saturday. You'll be my matchup on Tuesday. Like, that's just how it's gonna go. It really makes you like have to buckle down and guard, and it slows the game down because teams know what each other wants to go to. They know what we're looking for. They know who you're giving the ball to, and so there's a reason like points go down in the playoffs. Like there's a reason like in the regular season you might see games be 130 something to 130 something. In the playoffs, it's gonna be like both teams are gonna be getting to the hundreds a lot of times. Hundreds to maybe close to the 110s, depending on who playing. But points going way down. We got to slow the game down. We really locking in. We making sure certain guys ain't gonna be the reason we lose and things like that. And it make you just really have to play. So that's my take on like the difference. It's like we keying in on everything at this point because it's when to go home. So at this point, like we lose a regular season game to you, all right, that's not the end of the world. But playoffs, it is the end of the world. Like, this is it. That's all I got. These 4 games, these 7 games, however many games you get in the series, that's all it is. So we sitting down, we locking in, we keying into what we need to do to win. So that's the difference in my opinion.
I gotta agree. Like, obviously, the the biggest, most obvious glaring difference is the scheduling. Because like you said, you go from I play a team early regular season, like October, November, December, whatever. You might not see them again for like another month or 2. By then, you done played good 10, 15, 20 games in between. So the film you might watch on them from that first game might be irrelevant because that might be a whole different players. So like they might have got worse because they had an injury. Things might have changed because of they made a trade or whatever. So it might be a whole different strategy you have to come against because that's been months in between. Versus the playoffs, you finna see that same team for a week and a half, 2 weeks. So it's like you said, that first punch you gave me, cool. Game 1, whatever happened is cool. It's just kind of like it's like if you boxing, you get a feel out for them. You just little jabs, seeing what their reach is, seeing what their strengths are, weaknesses are. But game 2 is up for real. Okay, got my counter punch in. I know what game 1 was. Game 2 is that counter punch. Game 3, all right, this is real. Especially if it's 1-1, it's real now. Let's see, you got the real upper hand. By the time you get game 5, 6, 7, that's the real matchup right there because by that point you either win or lose. More than likely, you in somewhere in that vicinity of win or lose, especially at game 6 and 7. So the scheduling is the biggest thing that is the difference, and that plays a role into what you're talking about before with the intensity, because now I have to lock into another step is because Like if I'm playing Nelson regular season, I know I got a good idea of what they're doing, what they're talking about. Okay, cool. But I can't remember who said it, but like I think it's Jason Tatum. Somebody there was like, the playoffs got really real when like the regular season got to a point you might get a page or two of like what a team does, tendencies, the last 10 games, whatever, just whatever. Playoffs, you getting a whole little packet. Like hey, this player likes to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Team likes to do A, B, C, D. And it's like whatever matchup you have. So if you're a Draymond Green, you might get anybody from the 2 to the 5 or 3 to the 5. If you're Chris Paul, you're getting ones and maybe some twos. Like, but you're getting a lot more detail and in depth of what that player likes to do. So it's gonna get more intense because that counter has to have a counter to another counter to another counter. Then at the end of the day, you only got so many counters, bro. Like, I know what you finna do, but that's where the great shine, because it's like, you know what I'm finna do. I know you know what I'm finna do, but I still got a bucket on you. That's what makes the greats elevate over the goods and the averages. Because it's like the intensity of, I know what you finna do, you know I know what I'm finna do, and I still get a bucket, that's tough to stop. And so it's like, regular season, you got an idea what they want to do. You watch film, whatever, but it's like you know for a fact, because you studied film. I done played you 3 straight games. I know what you're finna do now. What else are you gonna do? So anything you pull out of here has been, you either been had to go deep into your bag or you just special, which probably is probably true. You just special like that. So that's the biggest thing in my eyes of like the scheduling, because the scheduling causes more intensity to it, because I know what you're finna do. So now it's really finna be like a grueling boxing match, because I know what you're finna do. It's just about who can outwit each other and pull something out of hat on the fly and freestyle the best. You feel me? So that's, in my eyes, kind of like the biggest thing of regular season versus playoffs.
Man, and then this part of the reason you see guys fold in the playoffs. Like, you got certain guys in the league that we kind of then pegged as unreliable in the playoffs or crack under pressure or whatever. Like, for a while, we saying that about Paul George, Pandemic P, all that. It really, like, cracked under pressure in the playoffs. We saying that about James Harden. Like, James Harden doesn't show up in the playoffs. People were saying that about Russell Westbrook when he was still in OKC without KD. And it's like, we say they don't show up in the playoffs, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of times they, like, when you talking about playing somebody 4 times or 7 games, how many games it goes in the series, you talking about guys like those guys, like somebody that's got the ball in their hand like every play, or that they touching the ball every play. Somebody they look to for a bucket every time down. Like, guys like that, they put their best defender on them. The whole game plan surrounds them. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, they playing them like, all right, somebody else about to beat us. Like, that's how they getting played a lot of times. Like, all right, we understand who you are, we know who you are, we know what you do, but somebody else got to win this game for y'all. Somebody else got to give us 25, 30. We're gonna lose. Like, James Harden was at the Rockets, it was like, hey, Clint Capella go for 20 and 20. Hey, PJ Tucker bust 9 threes in that corner. Hey, what it is. Yeah. But James won't be out here getting 40. I know that for certain. And so, I like that. A lot of times, that's kind of how it goes too. It's like, because guys like that, man, guys in the league, I really personally feel like I ain't gonna say none of the time, but very few instances in the league has somebody ever really cracked under pressure. It's just they didn't perform the way we thought they would. Yeah. But I don't think that's pressure. I think that's more of just good game planning more often than that. Like, but for example, like when Paul George is in the bubble and he had that shot in the corner, hit the side of the backboard, under pressure, in my opinion, because you too big and you too good to be hitting the side of the backboard in the corner 3 wide open. But like James Harden having 18 points, shooting 5 for 21 or whatever he shot, in the playoffs. I'm just making these numbers up, but when he was still in the Rockets, they was on his case about like James Harden doesn't show up in the playoffs. So like, but when James go like 5 for like 21 and had like 18 points, they're cracking under pressure. Like, I think they game plan for him well. And I think, you know, in the playoffs, the referees ain't giving him as many calls. So that's like part of his game is that he draws fouls. That's part of his scoring. And referees ain't calling foul like that in the playoff time. And so that kind of minimizes his game. And other people know that. So they out here like getting physical with my boy. Like, hey, I saved you today. You got to get out the mud. Yeah. So I'll tell you this quick story. I remember my senior year of high school, made the playoffs for the very first time ever. Made the playoffs. Like, since I've been in high school, I never had a playoff game. We never made the playoffs. And like, this had been the first time my school had made the playoffs in like some years. Like, not like since before I got to high school. It was the first time we made the playoffs in years. But my senior year, we finally break through that wall. We go to the playoffs. Play against Sylacauga. They was tough. Like, they're a good team. They was ranked at the time. They like that. We knew how good they was. But we watching film on them and stuff. We get in the game plan. We feeling like we can beat them, right? So I'm like, bet. Like, I'm locked in. Like, more locked in I ever been as a high school player. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, man, like, because I'm thinking as a young player, I'm like, man, we ain't never been here. We ain't never been. No one, we ain't never seen this school. It's like 3 hours away, 4 hours away. We ain't never seen this school. We ain't never played this team. But it's the playoffs, and it's win or go home. So that's how I'm thinking about it. Like, I got to show up. If I don't show up, it's over with. That's how I'm thinking. So I remember, play down. We playing. We had this play that we put in playoff time because you kind of save some of your plays for that moment because you know guys watching film and stuff like that. So we put in this new play with me and my guard Shakar run pick and roll, and he come off and you know he try to work out. Or if he don't have nothing, I post up. He hit me on the block and for the post up, whatever. So I remember we run the play. They switch. So in the switch, I'm supposed to automatically go to the block post up because I got a mismatch. So he hit me the guard like 6'2" in the post. I bumped Buddy twice. I ain't really getting nowhere on position. I kick it back out. So Buddy like, yeah, I'm here. Like, I'm not going nowhere. Like, he talking, you know, he talking this stuff. So when I kicked it out, Shakar about to run the play, right? He's about to run a different play. I was like, no. Throw me the ball back. Like, I'm demanding the ball. Probably the first time in my entire high school career I've been demanding the ball. I was like, no, throw it back. He throw me the ball back. I catch it. Mean elbow. Not gonna lie. Mean elbow. Hit him with the little chicken wing. Move butt out the way. Spun off. Dunk that thing, Brian. I ain't never did this before. Bro, no joke. I ain't never did that before. I ain't never just drop step nobody and dunk. Like, it was crazy. But that's how I was coming. I was like, I caught that ball. I said, pop. Hey, so we going crazy at this point because that was the first play of the game. So now it's like, oh, Nelson finna go crazy. That's how we looking at it. Like, oh my God, like we here, we woke. Yeah. So we go down court and we get a stop, go back the other way. We kind of like we got the momentum out that first play. So we make a good little run. I think we start out the game. We up like 10-2. Or whatever. Timeout. We hype. And any like seasoned basketball players know, you know, basketball is a game of run. So eventually they made a run of their own. And then we in their gym, they crowd going crazy. They talking to us crazy. Things of that nature. It's packed out. And we end up losing the game in the end. So bounced out in the first round of the playoffs. But on the bright side, I guess, and on the bright side, Sylacauga ended up winning the state championship that year. So we ended up losing to the state champions in the first round. So it make you feel better, but at the same time, it don't. I say that to say playoff time is different. Like, good players, I feel like you have to step up. Like, yeah, pressure was on. I felt the pressure. Like, hey, our gym, win or go home situation. We on the road. I'm like, man, it's it. Like, my team depend on me. Like, ain't much we can do or say. It's like either we gotta go out there and get it done. And so, as the young player that I was, in my mind, like I ain't never been a scorer or nothing like that. Obviously, like I never been a guy like that's gonna go get you 20, 25 a night, nothing like that. But this is one particular day I was like, hey, I'm not going for it. Like, throw me the ball. I'm going to put Buddy in the rim. That's how I was feeling. And that's how I attacked the whole day. It was just one of them things, man. I feel like if you don't show up in that playoff time, you can't call yourself a star. You can't call yourself a franchise player. I feel like being a franchise player, you got to show up in those in the important time, like when we actually need it. And so, yeah, the game planning for you and things like that. But say if you never show up, like if you go multiple years without producing in playoff time, then you're not the guy we thought you was, or the guy you need to be. That's how I feel about it personally. So I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you think like I said, it is good game planning and things like that. But at the end of the day, like if you are who you say you are, let me say that. If you are who you say you are, you got to make a way. You got to find a way to get that bucket, or find a way to get your team over the hump. So, and that's why we say playoff experience is so important. Like you have to have been in that before to produce. You ain't seeing no young players go crazy in the playoffs like that. Not often, at least. I'm saying the guys that's vets, they running it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Well, I can't talk, but the playoffs are where the real stars shine. Like that's where you really can separate the good, like the really good players. I ain't talking about like, oh, he a good player. No, I'm talking about the really good ones. Like, oh, he could be. No, he is. Once he gets to the playoffs, he is that. Like the playoffs is the true testing grounds of who is built for it and who's not. Like you said, one playoff series, it might have been spooked, might have been a little shook. It's just whatever. It's Ricky nerves of playoff Ricky nerves, whatever it is. I can kind of understand that, whatever. But once you get 2, 3, 4 times in a thing and you're not producing, hey, you ain't the man you thought you were. You feel me? So, like the playoff time is where you really make your name. Because think about it. A lot of casual fans don't watch regular season basketball. It's 82 games of one team, hundreds of games for across the league, whatever. So everybody finna tune in like that, the dedication of it. 9 times out of 10, you're not finna know who Trae Young. First year Trae Young made the playoffs, right? Most people didn't really know who Trae Young was for real. You might have heard of him a little bit, but the casual fan who just tuned in from time to time, your favorite player is LeBron. You don't watch every game LeBron in. You watch a Christmas game and you wait for playoffs. One of them fans, right? But you watch a playoff game where LeBron's playing a Trae Young. It's a terrible example because it's cross conference, but you get the point. So it's like, oh, that other guy's pretty good. What's his name, Brian? Oh, it's such and such. He this that and third. I like him. So now you're really introduced to who this guy is and he can play or not. So you might have never seen this guy before, never heard of him, whatever. But that's where your name really gets made. That's where the real sponsorships and stuff come in because, oh, he's built for this. Like, okay, he gets up for this. And that's where the real, like the Sam Cassells, the clutch players who, I'm not the number one guy, but the last few minutes, the last shot you need, I'm right here. That's where the real clutch comes in because regular season clutch and postseason clutch, two different things. Because like you said, the intensity goes up. And so I think that the playoffs are the real, divider between the greats and the goods and the okay.
It is definitely. And the okay.
You're okay team. You're an okay player. Like you're not obviously not bad because you're in the NBA. Obviously not bad because you're in a playoff game. Like that's obvious. It can't be bad. It's 16 teams in the playoffs, bro. You can't be bad to be one of them 16. You feel me? If you're in the 14, there's a good chance you're bad. But being at 16, that's one of the best teams. Feel me? So it's hard for you to be bad and be in the playoffs. So now, okay, you separate yourself. Okay, you made it to the playoffs. Congratulations. Now, how far can you go? How you survive? How do you play? That's the real separators. That's why LeBron's one of the greats because he's made it to the playoffs multiple times. He hasn't missed the playoffs except 2 years maybe out of his whole career.
His rookie year and then last year, the year for last.
When he was hurt.
All right.
What does that tell you about the man? Okay, great. Now, finals appearances. Oh my goodness, this man made it to the finals almost every year, the past whatever years. That's crazy. Granted, he's only won 4 of them, but who cares? Like, I'm not trying to, gold medal stuff, but think about it, bro. He's been to the finals back to back to back to back to back to back. Missed a year, 2 years, still there the next couple years. Like, that's crazy, bro. Like, he might not have won, but his longevity in the finals, not just in the playoffs, in the finals, is a lot. That separated him from a lot of people, in my eyes at least. So the playoffs are the real true testing ground between the greats, the goods, and the okays and the bads. It's like that's where you really get tested, because now the intensity goes up, the schedule changes, which causes more intensity. And like you said before, that feeling like, oh, I'm in the playoffs, like, let's go. Like, you excited, you amp. The nerves and everything that come with it, it's just like, oh, I gotta show up, I gotta prove myself. And if you don't have that, bro, you may not be built for the playoffs, because you're not built for this testing ground in. It's like, that's what the real hoopers show. If you're not ready for showtime, when that's the real lights come on. Not just any regular season game, no, this is the real lights. So if you're not ready for that, let's find somebody to take your seat, bro. So that's one of the other keys that separate the regular season from the playoffs. Like, because that is a separator. Like, that's the difference in it, because that's the separator. Because the intensity goes up, the schedule goes up. We're targeting Trae Young, we're targeting LeBron, we're targeting Steph. Can you perform now? That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's how you know. Oh, we know Nelson. We know the point guard. We target him until we good. Dang, they still drop 20. Welcome, sir. You for real. Like,
you've arrived. That's how it be, though, man. And that, like you said, that's the separator. And that's why we use playoffs time and finals time as who's the best and who's just good, or who's great and who's not. Like, there's a reason we call Mike the GOAT.
Yeah.
6 times he went to the finals. He won all 6 times when it counted the most. And that's why most people have, or a good amount of people have, whatever. I don't want no debates going on about LeBron and Jordan in our comments. Y'all say that for Skip and Shannon and them, but that's why many people look at Mike as the GOAT. When it counted the most, he was there. He arrived. He proved himself every single time. 6 finals appearances, 6 rings. That's why a lot of people say LeBron is the best. 10 times, won 4, and took teams that might necessarily not have been like finals teams, might not have really been good enough to actually make the finals, but he put the backpack on, like, all right, let's do it, y'all get in. Took him there. So when it counted the most, he was there. That's why a lot of people say Kobe's the best, because Kobe showed up every night, and in playoff time, he doing everything he can, even if his team ain't good enough. Everything he can to get somewhere, make it. And he all about winning. That's why a lot of people say he the best. And that's just how it goes. It's like you say, this playoff time is the separator. And many people have been separated. So many people when I went up when I said separated, but a lot of people have also been separated. Yep. Like, man, this guy good. This guy going crazy right now. Playoff time, bounced out first round, got swept. Man, he had a good season though.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's why you say you need that experience, because like guys getting the playoffs for the first time, like John Moran and them for the Grizzlies last year. They beat Steph Curry and the Warriors in that playing game. I don't like to get into that because Draymond sold, but they beat the Warriors, so we like, oh, he beat John Morant. We thinking of it like, oh, John Morant, Steph head up. That's kind of how we looking at it. We like, oh, John Morant, Steph head up. Warriors versus Grizzlies. Like, we ready for it. They end up pulling it out. They go to the playoffs. They playing the first seed out the gate, so they kind of first seed. Actually, they playing the second seed because the Suns played the Lakers. So yeah, they make the 7th seed. Yep. And so I forget who they end up playing in the playoffs, because they played the 2nd seed. Who was the 2nd seed in the West? I can't remember right now, but it's okay. But anyway, I think they lost in 5. They lost in 5 games. And so that lets you know, it's like, man, Ja had a great season. This is where Ja getting the hype. His sophomore year, they making the playoffs. He leading them. It's all good. It's all hype right now. But then it gets to this playoff time. It's like, all right, now's the time. Like, you really got to show us. Like, no longer is it about just like who the best player is or what you done did, what kind of highlights you had, what kind of season you had. None of that matters at this point. These next 4 games, all that matters. How you handle it. They end up beating the gentleman sweep now. I was like, oh man, Ja had a good year. He's still young, We look forward to how he produces, how he grows. That's what we're saying now. We ain't saying, oh, Ja going crazy. Now I was like, oh man, he good, but he young.
Yeah.
He's been separated.
Yep.
So we said that about a lot of guys. Trae Young really showed up last season in the playoffs. He had a 50-piece, I want to say. Took them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Had a good series. Milwaukee. It was great. Like, he showed up. And that was his arrival for a lot of people. Like, yeah, they didn't make it to the finals, but they lost to the team that eventually won a championship. And they played them in a hard-fought series. And he showed up every game. So now it's like, hey, Trae like that. Now we talking about Trae Young might be top 5 point guard. Separated. And he good separated, not bad separated. So, and like LeBron, guys like LeBron, Kobe, Mike, they get separated at a young age. Like not so much Kobe, because young Kobe still wasn't starting yet and jump like that. But when Kobe arrived and him and Shaq was going to the finals back to back, he'd been separated at that point. He averaging 29 in the playoffs, things like that, separated. This man, he like that. Then Shaq bounced. Now it's his team. He still taking them to the playoffs every year. He's still showing up, separated. That's kind of how we got to look at it. Like you said, we keying in on you. Can you still do it? We know what you do. We know how you come in. You know how we come in every game. We know what you like to go to. Can you still get a bucket? The greats gonna do it.
You know what's crazy about that too? Like, Shaq says this a lot, and he says how like you said before, the greats, you gotta step it up. Like, and Shaq always says this. He's like, regular season, I averaged about 28, 27, 28. Playoffs, I made it sure that I averaged about 32, 36 points. Had about, 12 rebounds, stepped it up to have 14, 15. So think about that, bro. I'm so great that I'm not finna just do what I did to you in the regular season. I'm stepping up to another level. I'm averaging 32. I'm stepping up my points per game, 4 more points, 5 more points, 6 more points. That's how great I am. To do what I did plus some, and what I know I'm finna do. That's how great you have to be in the playoffs. Regular season, you can get away with a game here and there because we ain't watch film or back-to-backs, whatever. No, it's no excuses now. You playing me 4 to 7 games in a row. You know what I'm finna do. You know I'm finna do with this drop step. You know my patterns. You know my tendencies. You know the play calls. You know all this stuff. But I'm still scoring more points than you than what I did before. Like, that's how great you have to be. And like, to add to that, like you said before, you getting playoff calls. You ain't getting regular season calls. Like, right. That's why they say certain regular season games, this playoff basketball right here, because you ain't finna get all them little ticky-tack calls and all them little touch fouls and all that stuff. Like some of them James Harden fouls, you ain't getting all them. Are they actual fouls? Yes. Playoff time comes, no. Like, the refs can sweep them down all day. No, it's the same rules, do the same thing. No, it's not, bro. No. It's obvious that you're not making them same calls. Because game number 35 in the regular season, this is not the same call that you're getting right here in game 2 in the Western Conference Finals. 2 different things. And so that's where I think that's a big thing too, like the playoff calls. Like, that's 2 different worlds of how the refs call the game. The finals is a whole other level of how they call the game. Like, because you got to think about it too. You don't want the refs to decide the game. Excuse me. You don't want to get to a point where it's like, it's my boy, so I hate saying this, but like they said, the refs gave D-Wade his ring in 06 because he lived at the free throw line. But at the same time, it's hard for you to get all them fouls, bro. Like, that's hard to do.
But Wade was good at drawing fouls. It wasn't even on some like the ref gave it to him. It was on some like dry in and out pump fake. You got to go for it because he a midi king. They jumping for it. He going right into their body. Like,
exactly.
You can't say the refs gave it to him. Like,
exactly. Of course, some of them is like, of course you're gonna have questionable calls, but that's basketball, period, because that's a human calling the game at the end of the day. It's not a robot. It's not a black and white thing. Pretty much every foul is a gray area, depending on how I like to call the game, depending on if I let stuff ride. So I let certain stuff ride because I want to play basketball, or I'm calling everything so I want a clean game. Depending on the refs. So One ref might call something, one thing a certain way. This ref might call things another way. He might call it a certain way, or she might. And so it's like you're gonna have inconsistencies from game to game or series to series because I'm an old school ref. I like to let y'all play. I ain't finna call this stuff. Now, if you bleeding, okay, I'll call that. But like,
Be bleeding.
that's how some refs are for real. But it's like, I heard it. Okay, I got to call it. I see a little bit. I got to call it. So it's just like you can't depend on that. But the refs do call it different from regular season playoffs. That's one big thing. That's probably the second biggest thing that you can say besides the scheduling intensity is like the refs will call the games totally different. And so that's why James Harden would struggle sometimes because he has to shoulder that load and figure out how to still be dominant. But to his defense, it's like if you look at his numbers, going back to Shaq's, when you look at his numbers, pretty much the same thing that he had regular season. If he was averaging 27, postseason he had 27. But the thing is, Shaq's point, if you had to step it up to the next level, and then two, which I think I talked to you about this before, you'd have to give us moments. What really separates you is the moments. Right. If you don't give us a moment to where it's like, oh, he dominated during this stretch, he dominated and hit that game winner. He dominated the game, dominated runs, or dominated with the game winner. If you don't give us one, more than likely two of these things, you're not separating yourself. So James Harden regular season, James Harden postseason, same thing. You can't get away with that at that level of player. KD regular season, KD playoffs. Kobe. Jordan. Every great, like the greats, they went from here regular season. They're already here above the competition, but they superseded themselves and went to another level. James Harden didn't do that all the time. If he had 26-27, he gave 26-27. It was just, the only thing was he didn't give us moments where like, oh, James Harden stamped his name on this game, and this what he did. He rocked out. He killed with a step back. He crossed Buddy up. He dunked on him, get the Buddy nose, all that stuff. You ain't getting that from James. That's where the problem comes in. Kyrie, oh, you finna get a clutch bucket. You are guaranteed to get a couple, somebody ankle on the sideline now. He finna finesse and play this layup. KD finna rock out, do his thing. We hit it with the long hezzy cross, boom on somebody's head, pull up in somebody's face with a three. You get in those moments where it's like, oh, they're going back to back. It's like, oh, Giannis, I'm blocking your shot. I'm hitting this dunk, spinning move, Euro dunk on your face. They're giving a moment for them. What James Harden moment did we have? What Paul George moment did we have? Regular season, you can count them up. Cool, but that's cute. Playoff time, what's up now?
This what this where you get separated at playoff time.
And so they're not able to separate from them old selves and separate from the game plan that's already in place. So that's why they average out to where it's like, we don't know where to put you right now. So until you can step up from your regular season to the postseason, you're not there yet. So like that's how great you have to be in the postseason because you average 27. So we're looking for you to average 30 now, 35. And they weren't able to do that. I think Steph Curry is my other debate with that too. He similar numbers, but he never gave us a moment to where it's like him. That's the moment. That's the man we were looking for. He never gave us that.
He the one.
Regular season. My God. Steph Curry. Steph Curry. He ain't break nobody ankle. He ain't had no crazy. What do you? Oh, good shot. Oh, what do you? I remember when he crossed to the Clippers. Steve Kerr was like, oh, what is he? And he made it. He was like,
you got it.
But we didn't have that playoff time.
That's but like I said, being keyed in on, it's kind of hard to have them same moments. Like I remember, man, one of James Harden's biggest moments in my mind. I'll never forget. I hope you can put the clip in. Like I'll never forget when they was playing the Clippers, and he hit Pat Bev and Paul George. Pat Bev or somebody hit him with a mean step back three, pulled up. Pat Bev clipped his leg out from under him, and Paul George hit his arm. Still went in, 4-point play. Got up and pointed at both of them. That's on you, and that's on you.
I remember that. Yeah.
That's one of the biggest moments for James Harden in my mind. I ain't seen this man do nothing like that playoff time. Like, it don't never happen. Like, And I'll be waiting on. I'll be watching them like, dang, when you going? You feel me? Get in your bag, like it just don't happen like that. And then like that's like you said, that's another thing that separates people, like them big moments. Like for Steph, I remember Steph's biggest moment in my mind when he hit the shot at OKC, where he came across half court. They decided not to call timeout, but it pulled up about 4 feet past half court, 3-ball. Good, won the game. That's one of his biggest moments to me. Like
Frustrating moments
I
for
don't
me,
see that.
bro. I hate that moment.
Like, I don't. Oh yeah, because you know Russell, I know Russell's your boy and stuff, but you just don't see that in playoff time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you got guys like KD. KD really had a moment last year against the Bucks. He didn't play almost every minute of every game. Hit the game winner, foot still on the line. It wasn't enough.
He had back-to-back games, was even crazier.
Exactly. Like folks remember that. Like KD is going crazy and nobody is helping him.
Yeah. Dang.
like a Dame moment in the playoffs. Still back on Paul George. It's like, man, it's undeniable at this point. He show up at the biggest moment. LeBron with the block, Kyrie with the shot, Ray Allen with the shot. Like, greats have the moments, man. And that's not to say the guys who like James Harden's still great. You know, he going to the Hall of Fame. Steph Curry obviously going to the Hall of Fame. All that. But it's just, man, like the lack of those moments in a lot of basketball fans' minds keep them from being like all-time greats. A lot of people. Like a lot of people would have said Bron wasn't a GOAT until that 2016 series, and then he got the block. So a lot of people like, all right, now it's undeniable. Like he got that moment. He did something ain't nobody else done. A lot of people was like, okay, this is it. He that now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people wanted to call it Kyrie top 5 point guard in the league till he hit that shot in 2016. Now it's like, oh, is Kyrie the best point guard in the league? Is he better than Steph Curry? Like, it's just one of them things, man. Like, I don't know, bro. It's crazy how it goes, but like I feel like it's more of a thing. Like you have to be attached to the game to really get, like, you can't just be looking at it like if I put somebody in front of a playoff game that didn't know much about basketball and then let them watch James Harden play. And then at the end of the game, I was like, who do you think the best player is for the Rockets? They'll probably still say James Harden. Like, oh, it must be that guy. I mean, he got the ball all the time. Like, they let him shoot. He must be their best player. If I let them watch LeBron James play and they don't know nothing about basketball, they're going to be like, good. He's clearly the best player on the floor. Like, he had a 30-point triple-double. Obviously, he's the best player. Like, it's a difference. If I let them watch Steph Curry play in the playoffs against the Cavs, 2016 series, and I said, who do you think the best player for the Warriors is? They'll probably be like, I don't know. I like that Draymond Green guy. He seems to really bring the energy. Like, seems to be the motor of the team. Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm trying to flip it around. But who the best player for the Cavs? Oh, that LeBron guy.
Yeah.
He's clearly separated himself from everyone else. Then at the end of the series, they hit him with the LeBron James first player to lead every statistical category in a playoff series for both teams. It's undeniable. Dang, man, you gotta have them moments because, like, that's what's gonna separate you. Like, that's what's gonna let you know who the greats is. Like, even if you don't know nothing about the game, you can look at it and be like, all right, that guy's obviously the best player. But you got the moments now. It's like he's better than everybody here. Like, it's not like he's here.
Yeah.
You guys play, but he here.
Yeah.
I think building, but he here.
Yeah, I think what you said is very key. Like, you have to be clearly better. Like, it's a clear difference. Like, is he the best player? I think so. I mean, I guess, you know, I watch basketball a little bit and I can tell he's good. But no, oh wow, Kawhi Leonard, he is obviously the best player on the floor on both teams. Oh, LeBron is the best player on the floor on both teams. Dame Lillard's obviously, like, hands down clear. It might be some head to head when you got a KD and LeBron bumping, Giannis, KD bumping Westbrook, who's the best player on the floor. Cool. But team to team, oh, he's clearly the guy. KD's clearly number one. Like, and Kyrie's on the floor, and James Harden was on the floor with him doing different stretches. I think game 3 or 4 when they switched out, when Kyrie went down and James came back. But KD was number one all 7 games. That was clear that Brooklyn Nets #1 guy, Kevin Durant. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Right.
The Bucks #1 guy, Giannis, Greek freak, hands down, no debates. Now you might have a game here and there where Chris Middleton shines, Drew shines, Brook Lopez shines. And it might be the one game where it's like, okay, I can back up. I ain't got to put up 30. Cool, I can only put up 20. Brook, you go score 25. Drew, you go score 30. Chris, you go score 35. That's your game. But out of 7-game series, 5 of them games should belong to me. Because I'm the guy. I'm clearly the guy. You all know this. It's my team. But now Kobe and Shaq dynamic, where Shaq is clearly the better player at that point. But fourth quarter, last shot, Kobe, do your thing. Hands down. Mm-hmm. That was LeBron and Kyrie. First 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, LeBron's the man. We all know this. But Kyrie, take us home. You had them situations. But it's clearly, if you flip the roles, that would not work. Well, Lakers, it might work because it's Kobe. But Kyrie really carry that team that whole game and get LeBron the ball in the fourth quarter?
Debatable.
Very debatable. Flipping on the other end, Kobe could carry that team. Just give it to Shaq? No. Just because he can't hit free throws and late game is different for big men. But yeah, like the last thing I want to kind of bring up is like the matchups for what the difference is between regular season and postseason. And when you get to the regular season, matchups are cool. You can exploit different matchups, and we like to play this style, I like to play that style. Our style wins this night because of whatever. But now playoffs it really comes down to matchups, but more than anything, it comes down to may the best man win. Because yeah, we might have the matchup opportunity to where we can take advantage of it, where you might be a number 3 seed, we're a number 6 seed, but obviously the talent isn't that far gone. It's not that you're that much better than us 9 times out of 10, but
right.
We might have the matchup that takes advantage of you because we have the bigs and you don't. Like the Warriors, shoot, pretty much most of the season they were down to big. They didn't have Jameis, they didn't have Looney, and they didn't get another big. Versus let's go Lakers from last year. They had a plethora of bigs. They had Anthony Davis. I think it was last year. They had Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Dwight. They had all these bigs. They had too many bigs. The Blazers a couple years ago, they had like 3 or 4 bigs to spare. Like they had a plethora of bigs. So we would have countered that and just been big against you guys. Matchups matter. But at the end of the day, this matchup is irrelevant. It's about who can go out and get me a bucket. I think that's the ultimate separator between the goods and the greats. You know what I'm finna do? Forget the playbook. Ain't no playbook. Give me the ball and I'll work out. I'll figure it out. And I think that's the ultimate separator between the basketball players who are really good and the hoopers that are great. It's different between the basketball. We might talk about this another day too. There's a difference between a basketball player and a hooper. Get the ball to me and let me rock out. Players what? No. Forget that. Doc, you sit down. Pop, you sit down. I got you. I'll take you home. And he's over there. All right. Let me make the right sub. Make sure you good. You want him in? Cool. We'll substitute that out and boom, rock out. Do your thing. The ultimate separator for real, I think player-wise is, can you get me a bucket? Can you go off script? Can you freestyle real quick and provide? Whether offense or defense. This wasn't in the playbook. This wasn't in the film session. None of this stuff happened on none of this was scripted. But can you perform right now when a train is going off the track and we still got to get home? Can you perform? So regardless of the matchup, regardless of the film sessions, regardless of all the practices, walkthroughs, all the stuff, get everything we talked about for this duration of the podcast. Can you perform when things aren't going according to plan and we don't have anything else to go to? Can you perform? That's what it comes down to in the playoffs and the finals. Regular season, you can get away with that because you lose today, you got another game tomorrow. You lose this game, it might be it for you. But can you perform?
Thanks, bro. That's definitely who can get you a bucket. It's like a lot of people say playoff series like decided by the top 10 players in the series. So let's say we go to top 10 players in the series whatever team got more of those 10 players, go win the series. So like Milwaukee and Phoenix, say the best player in the series is Giannis. Second best player, say Chris Paul. Third best player, let's say Devin Booker. Fourth, Chris Middleton. Fifth, DeAndre Ayton. Then the next five, that's important because now we just named all the stars. We knew that. But then the next five people, who is it? You might go Bobby Portis. You might go Brook Lopez. Then you might go for the Suns, you might go Jay Crowder. Then you might go my fault. I love Drew Holiday. I'm tripping. So you say like Giannis, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Middleton, Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. Them last two is debatable. Jay Crowder, Dante DiVincenzo, but
yeah,
they give the Bucks 6 of the top 10.
Yeah.
Series. So it's very important. Like who can get you a bucket? What team gonna be able to hold it together when things ain't going right? Who gonna control the team, the tempo better, things like that. But my last thing on my last little story, I try to throw a story in there from my few playing days. I'm still playing, so I'm still collecting stories. So hopefully I never run out. I remember my sophomore year at JUCO, we made the playoffs. We in the tournament, right? The tournament's being played at Shelton State Community College in Tuscaloosa. We playing against Chattahoochee Valley Community College, first round. Chat Valley team, we never played them before. But they're a good team, obviously, they're in the playoffs. So the thing about Chat Valley was, I ain't gonna try to say too much because I know the coach at Chat Valley, we good friends. That Chat Valley is not far from Columbus, I should say. So I've been to a couple Chat Valley games. They come to a lot of our games, all that. So y'all cool, we all good friends. But anyway, Chat Valley first round. And I realized quickly, I might add, I am being keyed in on. Think about my team back then. That's my sophomore year. We had a scorer named Trill. Latrell Tate, call him Trill. Trill averaged 24 a game. Then there's me, who averaged 14. And then everybody else. It's like guys that did their job. My point guard, Vaughn, very solid point guard, played great defense, controlled the ball, controlled the tempo, didn't turn it over, things like that. He wasn't going to give you many buckets. My shooting guard, Walt, who was just another point guard, really, like, handled the ball, wasn't going to turn it over, made very few bad decisions, wasn't going to get you many buckets. Just saying, like, wasn't much of a shooter. He could shoot when he wide open, but wasn't just a knockdown shooter. He was small, he wouldn't give you a bucket, but he made good decisions with the ball. And then my other big, Martez, another dependable big, play hard, gonna get you some rebounds, gonna get you some hustle points, things like that. And so, but that was our team. And then, we had some decent guys come off the bench. So I realized quickly, me and Trail being keyed in on. So, because we lead our team in points and rebounds. I'm averaging a double-double. He leading the league in points. We both all-conference players. Actually, I should have known that would happen. I'm not even thinking about it. Like, this show you, like, my freshman year, we didn't make the playoffs. But show you, like, I didn't have a whole lot of playoff experience. I'm like, what's happening? So I realized when I caught the ball, first time I caught the ball in the post, the big guard me, a guy named Max, great player, good player. He forcing me to turn over my right shoulder to use my left hand. He forced me to use. So I'm still trying to go middle, use my right hand, whatever. He's sitting on that. And so, like, now I'm kind of locked up. So then that I caught the ball in the post. I'm trying to go the other way, the guard digging off our guards because they can't shoot like that. I'm kicking out to them, shooting the ball, like they're not shooters like that. They're not shooting it. So, like, man, we stuck. And they really got me locked up. I'm not shooting it good. Like, I had like 2 turnovers in the first half and like 2 points. I'm at halftime, like, I'm really like blown because I'm like, what's happening? Like, I don't know. I never been here before. I'm like, man, like, why? I'm scoring. They're like, what's happening? But the guys on the sideline the guys that been on the sideline watching the game, they telling me, they're like, hey, this was happening. You need to make this move. You need to go strong. and you need to finish. Like you need to finish them. They're small. They're smaller than you. I know you feel it. I'm like, bro, but when I turn, I feel like I ain't got space. He was like, I know, I see that. Coach telling me the same thing. Like I know what you see, but you need to jump high. You need to jump high, and you need to finish strong because you're bigger than them. Don't be scared. Like that's what they want you to do. They want you to feel like you ain't got space, and they want you to kick it out. All right, cool. So come out to halftime, we down at this point because they game plan is working. Just being real, game plan working. Next time I touched the ball, I did exactly what they told me to do. I made my move. I jumped high, tried to finish strong, tried to dunk on Buddy. But when it happened, that's when it clicked for me. I was like, I could just jump high. I could just as long as I get to this spot, to my spots, and then jump higher than them because I was taller than him. Like finish, I can finish over these guys. But I'm feeling like because they doubling me and whatnot, and they digging off me, I'm supposed to kick it. They're like, no, don't kick it. You can finish. You can do it. Like, you good. So that's what I'm doing now. At this point now, I'm feeling a little bit better about it. So like now when I touch the ball, I'm going to the right places. So I scored like 8 points and a half. I only finished with 10. I ain't gonna make it seem like I had like 20. You know what I'm saying? I only finished with 10, but I had 8 in the second half, and it was timely buckets. So, and then I'm still playing great defense, blocking shots, getting rebounds, all that. And the next thing I know, once I got a couple buckets, you know, they used to run plays for me at Bevel. So once I got a couple buckets, now it's like I make the move, dish it out to Ted, making the layup. They keying in on me so much, Ted's open. Long story short, we win the game, win our very first playoff game in program history in like the last long time. I don't know. I don't want to lie. First playoff win for me and for our team, for everybody on our team. First playoff win for my coach as a coach at Bevel State. All that. Big game. And my coach telling me like, hey, you made the adjustments. You did the right thing. You got it. Like you made it happen. And you know, I ain't trying to make it seem like I say today, because like I said, I only had 10 points, but I did what I was supposed to do. I gave us what we needed at the time. That's playoff basketball. Good player, they keying in on you. It's like, hey, you ain't got no choice. You're a good player. And I had to realize that, like, I'm a good player. I wasn't thinking about it before it happened. But after the fact, I realized, like, I'm a good player. Like, other teams are keying in on me. They know that. So they looking at it like, we're not gonna let Trail beat us. We're not gonna let Nelson beat us. Somebody else go out to score. And I had to find a way around it. I had to make the adjustments. And you know, my coaching staff, you know, that credit goes to my coaching staff and my other teammates for giving me, you know, the advice and like giving me, you know, keeping me up, making sure I wasn't down about what was going on. Because I was being locked up. Like I was being locked up. I just was struggling with it. But they helped me make the necessary adjustments. Our coaching staff made the necessary adjustments as a team, and we pulled out the game. And that's what it comes down to, man. Like, can you make the necessary adjustments? Can you get past being keyed in on? Can you get past people using your weaknesses against you? All that stuff. Yeah. That's the difference between play out. But like that will separate you between being a great player and a good player. And so that's really my last thing on it. Like for young players out there, like who has never been in that situation, who hasn't been to the playoffs and things like that yet. For you to be who you want to be, you know, I'm assuming everybody, you know, that's playing right now listening, you want to be great. You want to be good. Like you want to be one of those players. To be one of those players, that's part of it. Great power comes great responsibility. Like be keyed in on. Like people gonna get the scout on you. Like, all right, this is what he does. This is what he like to do. We're gonna make sure he can't do that. Are you going to be able to make that necessary adjustment? Are you going to be able to still get to where you need to be, perform, produce the number that your team needs you to do, all that? So that's my last little 2 cents on it. I hope y'all got something out of that. You got anything else you want to say to the people?
You made me think about it, man. Like another key to great teams winning is that X factor. Like you said before, it was the top 10 players, right? And once you get past the stars, the superstars, the all-stars, you know, the guys that we all know we're looking to perform, you're going to have a game 4 or 5 usually when that time comes where you need to have, if you're looking at, let's go to another team. Let's look at the Heat, right? You got Jimmy, you got Bam, You got Kyle Lowry. Who is the next guy that's going to step up? Not Hero, not Duncan, but who's the next guy? Besides the average guys we all know and love, who is that random person that's a role player coming off the bench or whatever is going to step up and give you the timely buckets? It might not be a 20-point game, but it's a timely 10. You cut that run off with the last 2 buckets you gave us. You stopped them on defense when we needed it. Or you might explode and had a 20-point game off the bench when somebody was struggling. Jimmy couldn't get off that night. He just had a tough night. It wasn't his night. Man, where do we think these last couple points from? Oh, what you call off the bench just came off and gave us some buckets. That's what comes into with the playoffs, to where scouting report working well for the other team. We locking up Jimmy, we locking up Kyle, Bam, whatever. Game plan working great. We got them down. We won. We locked up Nelson. We locked up guard. We winning. Oh snap! Number 8 just went off for 20 points on us. Like what? Like
they're really IB. Don't even know their name. We locked up Nelson. We locked up Trill. Like, who is number 8? Why number 8 getting off right now? 4 and 8.
And that's what the great teams once again separate themselves, because that's where depth comes in too. The depth, you got to have a deep team. You can't just be superstar heavy and just be like, oh, we're gonna win because we got the best players. No, some nights KD not gonna have it. He struggled. Giannis ain't gonna have it every night. And think about it, out of the 16 wins you have to win the finals, your star's not gonna perform all 16. Your superstars are gonna perform all 16. They're not gonna perform, the all-stars are gonna perform all 16. Who can step up and give us a timely 20, a timely 10, a timely stop, a calm us down right here, get us in our sets, right? Whatever. Who's that X factor that can come in and step up to where you might not win us the game like the last bucket, but you get us through this tough stretch right here. And so X factors are probably like the last thing I want to bring up as far as like what really matters in the playoffs versus regular season. Because yeah, it's cool if you do that with regular season. Like then it might just be in your game. He had a good game. He just timely, whatever random game this was, he was just feeling that night. But no. This is the playoff times where you might not be keyed in on as much, but we got a clear idea of what you can do. Because I remember I had a homeboy telling me when he went to college, he was like, he wasn't playing that much, right? And he was just, playing a little bit. But they had a scouting report on him. Oh, shooter, as soon as he got in the game, touched the ball, oh, shooter, watch out for him. He was like, hold on, bro. Like, I don't even play that much. Like, how you know I'm a shooter? That's how in depth that junk goes at college.
I know it.
Now imagine that junk being keyed in playoffs in the NBA. We know everything about you. We know a good about it. We know he's a shooter. We know he's a slasher. We know all this stuff. So now unless you a Cam Thomas and you just get in your bag and go crazy, I don't know what you can do, bro. So that X factor really comes in clutch in the playoffs. Like I said, a Sam Cassell type. I can't think of a current player right now. That's the best reference I can give. But a Sam Cassell type of player that can step up out the blue and just be like, game 4, I can give you 20. I can hit a game winner for you, game 6. But best player, take us on. That's how I be, in the playoffs. So, like with your story, it would have been perfect if somebody would step in and be like, dang, y'all getting keyed up. I got you. Got to step up. Man. You might not go crazy and give us a 30-point game, but if you average an 8 and give us 15, that's what we need.
Yeah, we needed that.
We need, like you said, you was about your average. You had 10. You said you averaged about 14. That ain't too bad off from what you do. But we needed something else. Like somewhere. Man, I only average 8, but got to be more aggressive. Oh, man, you had a 15-point game. Great game, man. You hit this clutch shot and this clutch shot, clutch stop, all this stuff. But the X factor comes in. That's what really matters too in the playoffs. So that's my last little nugget, man. I think the overall thing is just like, how can you separate from the norm? Can you separate from the regular season? And can you separate from the average of whatever's going on around you? And how can you, when you get punched in the mouth, how do you respond? That's the biggest thing in the playoffs too. Like,
oh yeah, that's every game.
But even heavier in the playoffs, because that's a big punch, bro. Like, think about all the emotion that goes into a playoff game. Like, you literally going from here to here almost every game. Game 1, you win. You on, oh man, we finna win. Game 2, you get, we lost. Like, we finna lose. We finna go home. Game 3, you win. Oh, like you're really on a roller coaster ride every game. As a fan, I feel that jump. We win, Celtics win. Let's go, baby. We finna win. Oh, we lose game 2. Dang, man, I don't know if we could put who finna trade, man. What's postseason looking like? What's the draft looking like? We win, you back on it, yes sir. Number 18 coming. Every game is a roller coaster ride. So imagine as a player how invested you are sometimes. It's like, especially when you're young, it's like, I don't know. And so can you weather that storm and stay in level enough to where it's like, we cool. It's on the game 1. It's on the game 2. It's on the game 3. It's tough to have that long-term approach in a 7-game series, but the GOATs figure out a way. I can't tell you how to do it. They got some kind of way to where they can maneuver their brain and their emotion to where they can wiggle through and separate and still perform. So it really just comes down to separating yourself. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. And just because you said that, like, young hoopers out there, it's important that you find that balance of never too high, never too low. Like you said, game 1 we win, we up here, we hype, we good, man. We finna win it all. Then we lose game 2, like, man, can we pull this off? Man, what we gonna do, man? They was on us today. Then we win game 3. It was like, oh man, we up, man. We take it all. Like, you got, like, can't never get too high, can't never get too low. You got to maintain until it's all said and done. When the season over with, you can be low. Hey, you get beat, season over with, we going home, then you can be low. We win it all. We win the championship, whatever. Then you can be high. But until it's all said and done, never too low. So y'all remember that too. Let that be one of my let that be my little nugget for y'all for today, for this episode. But is that all you had to say, B?
I'm good, man. That's it.
All right, man, it sounds good. But it was a good talk, man. Good playoff talk. I hope y'all got something out of it. Like, playoffs only come once a year, man. That's what makes it special. You got a regular season game every other day. Playoffs only come once a year. So make sure everyone, your own hoopers and guys still playing, like, but don't miss your opportunity, man. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. So that I just, if you want to be good, you want to be great. Make sure. I'm not saying go out there and jack up shots, obviously. Like, no, you need to know your role, know your job, know what you do for your team. But when it comes to that playoff time, you need to do that times 10. Go hard and play smart and make sure we minimize mistakes. Because if you're a good player, they watch you. They know what you like to do. They know what you like to get to. So you need to be willing and able to finish through people, finish through game plan. Make sure you know what your counters are and things of that nature, and be able to adjust. And that's how you separate yourself. And once you separate yourself in that time, that you'll be recognized you'll be more recognized for your playoff time play. And so that'll get you where you want to be. But that does it for us in another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast. And I hope y'all enjoyed this one. Hope y'all got something out of it. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. If you listening to it, man, somebody had a rough playoff series or whatever. A rough playoff. Maybe they lost, maybe they won. And their season already over with. Send this to them. Make sure they know for next year. Make sure they're getting ready, prepare themselves. Make sure they ain't never too high, never too low, things of that nature. And hope they get something out of it. And just keep pushing the lesson forward. But be sure to follow Brian on all social media at BeBall Jones. That's BeBall Jones on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at NellyH34 and Nelson Askin on Facebook. And, keep the conversation going. And be sure to leave comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think is important to do in playoff time. What do you think separates playoffs from regular season? What do you think separates players from being great and being good? Do you think it's more than just the playoffs? Tell us what y'all think, and let us know how y'all feel about some of the things that we said. And I think that's it. So without further ado, we appreciate y'all again for listening, and we out.